Hello, J.A. Stein here for another episode of Horses in Fiction. We're walking in the snow again today. It stopped snowing, but then it started again last night. So now we've got like another 3 inches down here, so we're going out for a walk again in the snow around the ring. And I have another snowy scene to read to you. Very fitting. It's about how, I really should just stop talking until I read. But anyway, we're back to Knightess today. Yay! My book again. And I promise I have other people's books in the pile that we'll get to. But I'm going to read you a scene where Eleanor rides the fancy horse for the first time, basically. And it's in the snow, in a pasture, because they're trying to hide the horse's footsteps so that Alec doesn't know that she's out riding on his horse, because she's kind of a bad girl and she's going to get in trouble because she's riding his horse. But he doesn't really find out for a while. So anyway, I'm getting into spoilers, which I shouldn't do. You should just read the book. But anyway, we're going to read while we're walking, doing our daily walk here with Val. She says hi. She said she'd much rather be eating grass, but the grass is covered in snow and she's not allowed to go out and turn out yet because she's still healing. So kind of a rough life for her today. But anyway, I'm going to try to read and walk and not drop the camera and make you seasick. I hope I haven't been making anybody seasick so far. Oh, it's been interesting. But anyway, let's rearrange here and we'll get into it. This is a little bit of a longer one. And then there's a lot of fun stuff happening in this chapter that we should really talk about as far as horse stuff goes and why I did what I did, and is this a realistic fictional scene? Well, realism fiction, the definition of fiction is it's not real, but sometimes fiction can be realistic and sometimes fiction can be fantastical. So we'll see if we fall. And you're doing that thing where you're walking on the wrong side. Get back over there. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. Eleanor met Wilfred just as dawn broke. He was there with Noir already, bridle in hand. Oh, hold on. I'm dropping the lead rope. It's hard to walk without a lead rope. See, this is a lead rope. Okay. Oh dear, thank you for bearing with me. One of these days I'll get this right. Okay, so he was there with Noir, bridle in hand. As he led the great horse outside and into the pasture, where his snowy footprints would be expected when Alec woke, he eyed her for any sign of fear. He found none. Eleanor stood next to the great beast and stretched out a hand to stroke his black neck. He was not the first estrus she had ridden. She had ridden since she could walk, and her equestrian education had not ceased at Montag's manor. Still, her escape on Montag's dresture had been her greatest challenge. That horse had fire in his soul, but she had known then that if she did not ride him, she was dead anyway. This horse seemed to burn with the same fire. As she felt the power of the muscle beneath her hand, she looked into Noir's eye. He stared back at her with that same presence, waiting. With a whisper, she swung herself onto his back and took up the reins Wilfred held ready. Noir lifted his head, the tension in his back balling up like a fist, ready to punch her into the air. She patted his neck and whispered to him. Just let him walk, Wilfred commanded. He'll walk it out. Don't make him stand still too long. Eleanor obeyed and the pair walked forward. The horse's back still tensed with a dragon's fury, but he obeyed her. He laid a hand on his neck and felt the tension ebb. Wilfred was silent. Eleanor began walking Noir in circles, focusing him, feeling how he responded to her aids. She pushed him to each side with her legs, feeling how he reacted quickly. Within a few moments, she felt the light weight of his head in her hands as he searched for a command from that plain bit. Trot him, Wilfred said. He folded his arms as the pair glided around the open field in the dawnlight, performing the same maneuvers at this faster gait. Canter, he said, and they stepped into a floating rocking horse rhythm. Oh dear, we got you on the ice. Okay? I'm sorry. That's totally my fault. You coming back? Okay, we're almost there. Noir's energy was completely controlled. His mind willing. Noir's energy was complete. His body functioning as if there was no rider at all. They halted in front of Wilfred, completely immobile. Okay, thank you. We survived that one. Remember what I was saying last video about ice and slippiness and not knowing what's under the snow? Well, yeah, totally got guilty of that right there. Okay, bear with me. We're getting resituated. Okay, are we good? Whew. Hold on. You're a little fiery today. Okay, and there's no grass down there. See what she's doing? She's trying to eat. Oh, but there's nothing there. Okay, but she knows where it is. She's so smart. Okay, so we're walking. Okay, so a couple things happening in that scene. We talked about snow and it being slippery. They're actually trying to hide their footprints by riding in the snow, specifically riding in the pasture. The idea being that when the horse goes out for turnout, it'll just look like he was out running around doing horsey things and not that she was actually riding. Could that actually work? Probably, to a degree. It depends on how round your circles are, because I don't think horses really make round circles when they're out in the pasture by themselves. Not that they can't, because you'll totally see them circling and doing all kinds of things that we do under saddle, but I don't know how good their geometry is when they're out in their field by their own. So in theory though, if the horse goes out and runs around on his own terms after Eleanor's out there doing the circles, it should hide the circles and Alec will not be suspicious, which is kind of how the story plays out. The other thing that's happening is this horse is like a fiery dragon. He is probably the hottest tempered horse in Alec's barn, which is why Wilfred has kind of taken over his training, which Alec doesn't even know about, because Wilfred is like horseman extraordinaire. I guess we could call him a horse whisperer, and we kind of talk about that earlier in the book. There's a scene with Wilfred and Noir, and that's what leads Eleanor to ask if she can ride this horse, because she knows if she's gonna go and do her knightly things that she actually needs a horse. She can't just play around with a sword. She's gotta ride too. Wilfred helps her with that. But anyway, where was I going with this? Hot-tempered horse, powerful horse. She can ride it though, because she has not, like we kind of clarified in the other Knightess scene, this is not her first time riding. She's been doing this her whole life. She has been formally trained. She has been formally trained on some hot-tempered horses in the past. So really it's just a matter of muscle memory and getting back in shape and learning this particular horse himself, which is Noir. And you can kind of see in the scene, her energy kind of calms him. He's a little uncertain when she first gets on. He's not sure what to make of her. Like I said, he's balled up like a fist. I have had that feeling on a horse. Actually, most of this scene is kind of inspired by my one horse. Not really so much this one. She's pretty, I don't know, when she was younger, she had her moments. It used to be a thing that we would like rear up before we went in the show ring every time. But she kind of grew out of that finally. But I mean, she still has her moments where she's like, look, I'm fancy! And breathes a little fire. But my other mare, Chestnut Mare, definitely had this feeling for literally years when I first started riding her. And I did start her under saddle myself. And she inspired a lot of my hot horse scenes in these books. And that's why there's a lot of chestnuts in these books. But it's definitely not a fun feeling when you feel like they're just about to explode. But the flip side of that is when they like take that breath and they're like, oh, okay, my rider's got me. I'm okay. It's the coolest feeling ever, because it's like, oh, look, like we can be one. We can be partners. And we can do all of these fancy things, and I don't know if fancy is even the right word for it. These amazing, powerful, skilled maneuvers that it gives you a feeling, like, I can't even describe it. I mean, I tried to describe it in my books. Hopefully I succeeded, but that's about as close as I can come to describing this feeling, because it's a cool feeling when you're like truly in tune with your horse and there's a partnership, and you know you're walking this fine line between like them having their own will, which they do, and yet you not hitting the ground because they just feel like you should hit the ground. But anyway, that's what Eleanor is navigating in this scene, and she does so successfully. And this is the beginning of her partnership with Noir, which carries on through the next 2 novels, really. And it takes her to whole new places. Like, she could not do what she does without Noir. And it's just really cool when you sometimes have that relationship with your horse. And I will tell you, it does exist. It is very real. And it's very rare. So if you're out there listening to this video and you're like, oh man, that's me, I got that feeling with my horse, good for you. Treasure it. Because it really is, like, it's a feeling out of this world. A partnership. I think that's the best one-word answer to describe it. It's a partnership. But what else is happening in this scene? Like, he tells her, don't try to stand still, just get going. Very, very realistic. If you're on a horse that's like ready to explode, the best thing to do is just let their feet move, because then you can get some of that energy out in a controlled manner, and it doesn't just launch you into the sky. But yeah, I think that's the most of it. I didn't really write in about the snow being slippery or anything. I think this scene is like, it's just like a little layer of snow. Like here at home right now, we have like, I think we're up to 6 inches between yesterday and today. Maybe a little more than that. Which is making for some interesting times. Especially when we slip on the ice, because I'm not watching where I'm going because I'm too busy talking to a camera. But anyway, we survived, right? And Eleanor survived. And now she's got this amazing horse with this partnership that's going to take her places that she never could have imagined otherwise. So, hope you think this is fun, and thank you for watching, and have a great day. And I should add too, like, if anybody has questions as you're watching these videos, feel free to ask. Hopefully I can answer them. If not, maybe I can find the answers. So, a lot of this is my experience, and everybody has a different experience with horses. It's the beauty of horses. No 2 horses are alike, just like people. So, yeah. Have a great day. Bye.